I'm afraid I've run out of road myself now. Because not only are we looking at his desperate attempt to wriggle off yet another hook that would have done for any other mortal years ago, we're also seeing him announce that he's going to vote against the so-called Windsor framework. Rishi Sunak's desperate and imperfect attempt to clean up some of the mess made by the deal that Boris Johnson said was oven ready. I've talked to you about this before. It's like a Russian doll. This is why I am not struggling with my new book, How They Broke Britain, which is an account of these people and what they've done to us, how they created an ecosystem in which these kind of madnesses could happen. But I'm having to edit all the time as I go, because I start to talk about one thing. I open one Russian doll and there's another one inside, and you get distracted by the other one. You should be describing and examining the first doll. But, oh, look, there's another doll. Let's have a look at that one. And you reach in to get the other doll, and his head comes off, and there's another doll inside. So that just happened then, did you see? So I talk about how Boris Johnson is preparing to vote against Rishi Sunak's Windsor framework, the Windsor framework that is absolutely designed to fix some of the mess that Boris Johnson made, while telling you that the mess was an oven-ready deal that would get Brexit done. It's a Russian doll of dishonesty. So we start off talking about the lies about parties at Downing Street. We get immediately distracted, as he probably intends, by the decision announced earlier this morning that he's going to vote against Rishi Sunak's attempt to fix his own mess. And we remember that the mess came about as a consequence of him telling the country that he had an oven-ready solution to the intractability of Brexit. All of these boneheads, some by name and nature, all of these boneheads queuing up at the time to tell you that it was oven-ready and it would get Brexit done. And then before Boris Johnson's signature was even dry, idiots up to and including David Frost, the so-called chief negotiator, were trying to disown it, culminating, here's another Russian doll, in Brandon Lewis standing up in the House of Commons and announcing that we were prepared to break international law in a very limited and specific way. This is our country. This isn't like a Westminster drama. It's not like a farce. You may well have Boris Johnson falling out of a wardrobe with his trousers round his ankles, but it's not a farce for the rest of us. It's our country, it's our home, it's where we grow up. Most of us aren't rich enough to up sticks and move somewhere else, or to transfer operations into the back garden of a billionaire plutocrat sponsor like Boris Johnson has done. We have to live with all of this. Today's a day where it's just not good enough for Liz Truss and Ian Duncan Smith and Boris Johnson and the rest of them to say we're going to vote against Rishi Sunak's deal. I think about this a lot. And I think it's got something to do with environment, not the environment, but I just think that the way journalists treat them, I watch it sometimes, and the way that the House of Commons operates, even a potato in human form like Jonathan Gullis or Mark Francois, when they walk around the House of Commons, they feel like Billy Big Bananas. And this just injects them with a sense of importance that nothing they have ever done or achieved could possibly justify. 30p Lee gets elected as the Labour MP for Ashworth in Nottinghamshire, as the Conservative MP for Ashworth in Nottinghamshire, about a year after he was slung out of the Labour Party. It's incredible that these people end up in the House of Commons and then end up believing that they are somehow worthy of the honour the position bestows. So today, Liz Truss, let's vote against Rishi Sunak. Nothing is ever more important than them. Nothing is ever more important than their own ludicrous ambitions and machinations. Yeah, you lost the whip. If you voted against Boris Johnson's Brexit attempt, you actually lost the whip. A few months later, you lost your seat in the House of Commons. You could go from Chancellor of the Exchequer as